I do believe they have 2 PGs, and if they don't, I'm pleasantly surprised. But that one trigger does come into play, and we can pull out 2. That's 1. Ooh, they don't have 2 PG. Hey yo, how's it going everyone? Entropy here today with another video. Today we're going to be doing another deck profile for the new set. And it is going to be once again another Link Joker deck. I do think that Link Joker is pretty well positioned in the metagame. Especially since they have so many options coming out of the new set. I think they have like more than 5 triple rares from set 21. So this is going to be my Blaster Joker build. There are a lot of variations. You can play around with a lot of them. I don't have all the options, as you've seen from my pack opening. It's been pretty terrible. But I'm playing with what I have, and it's been pretty solid so far. Can't say it's better than the leaders, but it's not bad as well. So, without further ado, let's talk about the joke that is Blaster Joker. And, of course, we need to get the Aichi skin. Looks really good. In this build, I still do like the Worldline engine. I do think that Worldline engine synergizes really well with Legion. And I do think that it works solidly because you're still able to filter through your deck. You're able to add more triggers to your deck and set up your Legion. And I think that's really valuable. I know a lot of people moved away from it. You have a new starter that helps you Omega Lock. That's fine too. But I think that the Worldline, you know, it stays in your soul. So that's one thing that's really great for Blaster Joker because you do need the soul to actually use the skill. It also helps you, you know, just go through cards, and I think it's really solid because you do have some cards that you want to tech out, but you don't want to necessarily play, you know, 4 maybe, and it does give you more options. So I guess without further ado, let's start with the grade 1s, I guess. We're still playing the 2 Palladium. It's really great, but in this metagame when there's a lot of locking and like retiring with Kagero and smashing with Brawlers, playing 4 isn't that important anymore. It's really hard to pull off. It's much harder to pull off than before. So I think 2 is fine. I'm valuing power over value in this build. And you know, you can definitely play with more Palladiums, but 2 is fine at this moment. 4 PGs, of course. 3 of the 10k beater. Early game, you need to start pushing. This deck, when you're behind, hurts quite a bit. You know, you can full field lock and all, but without the pressure, you know, once the lock is gone, still can't win the game. So from my experience, being able to be the aggressor, start pushing, forcing your opponent to commit onto the board and then locking them down, that's been working the best for me. And 3 Neons is solid. Of course, we're playing 4 of the Lanthanums instead because you're going to be locking multiple cards at once with your Legions. And what Lanthanum does is it gets +3 per lock, so it could be a 10k booster, 13, 16, 19. If you're locking 5 units, then it's +15. That's a 22k beater by itself, and it scales really, really nicely. What you need when you're behind, especially. For the grade 2s, I'm playing 4 Photons. The rank reward art, in my opinion, is the best art. You know, 2 swords. Looks really sick. On place, rearguard circle. If your Vanguards are Star Vadar, +2, lock one of your opponent's rearguards. Really solid, especially if you don't want to re-ride and re-legion and do all that. You know, your legions both require discarding 1 in order to do some lock shenanigans. Discard slap down and you got the job done. It also punishes your opponent for not really committing into the aggressiveness of the builds that they sometimes they generally want to do, except against Link Joker maybe. So you shut down that 1 intercept that they have, and you have 3 shots to the face, and it feels really good. We play 4 of the Astral Reaper. I definitely think that Astral Reaper is a really solid unit, especially in Link Joker. First of all, it has resist, and I was just talking to another player this afternoon. Says like, oh, you know, Draconic Overlord can still bypass it. You know, Novo Vag can still bypass it. Cycloma Tooth, the Mega Colony Break Ride, can still bypass it. But really, you know, a lot of people have moved on from it. I mean, the Grey can definitely. But resist in general is still really solid. You still have a lot of Paladin clans out there, and they kind of rely on the retires in order to make the multi-attacks possible, and the resist is just solid. In the mirror match, you know, it just means this unit can't be locked except for Blaster Joker, I guess. And overall, I still just really like the keyword. On hit, you can Soul Blast 1 to check top 5, add a card with the same name as your Vanguard to your hand, so when you're in Legion state, It's really helpful because Blaster Joker does want a copy of itself. It does give you more pressure. Photon, you know, an extra copy of Photon helps you lock more stuff. And of course, Garnet Star just means you could re-legion and do other shenanigans as well. So overall, I think it's a really good card. Don't have to use it every time. Of course, be wary because it does Soul Blast. Blaster Joker needs Soul Blast 2 as well. So just be careful, but overall, it's just a solid body if you just want to slap it down early as well. We play 2 of the Dalatin. Honestly, it's not that good. Your opponent has to have 2 or more lock cards, and then you'll add a Star Vadar, Blaster Joker to your hand. It's generally a bit too late, honestly, or it's a last-ditch effort. But I still like it because it does help you search into the Blaster Joker in case you go into Garnet Star. So it's solid. It's a nice unit. You don't play more than 2, honestly. I tried it at 1 and it's fine as well. But 2 is all right. I guess you see it, but you don't really need it. Is the situation. And lastly, we play 3 Niobiums. It's the same as the 7+3. It's the 9+3 per lock, and it's really solid. It helps scale up, and definitely valuable. Next, of course, we play the 4 Blaster Jokers. Legions with Photon, so you don't need to play an extra other mate. If you're a Legion, Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 2, and lock a Star Vadar rearguard, discard a Star Vadar to lock all of your opponent's rearguards and retire your opponent's Legion mate. So, you know, I definitely think that this has a really good matchup against Brawlers. They rely on their front row in order to scale up and hit. They rely on being in Legion to use your Legion skills. They don't like re-legioning. So this is definitely a very nice killer. Even in other decks, even in the mirror match, you know, it feels really good to be able to use this. Of course, it's rare that you're able to use this more than once. Practically impossible to use this 3 times a game, but it is still really nice. Really good to seal off the game, or just take a hold of the board state and just control it for that turn. In addition, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, put a card with the same name as your Vanguard from your hand into your soul to get a +1 crit. Of course, without a Legion state, you can still use this by having an extra copy of Blaster Joker, and that's how I like to use it. If you have an extra copy, you know, you're able to apply some crit pressure and start pushing. Of course, later on in the game, if you do need that last-ditch effort, when you are in Legion state, you can soul charge a Photon as well and still get the crit, so that's really nice. And we play 2 Garnet Star Dragons. This is the rank reward. Also Legions with Photon, so again, you don't need to play a separate mate. When Legion, discard a Star Vadar to lock a front row and back row rearguard, so it's fine. Locks 2, helps you trigger out your Dalatin as well, and when it attacks, it gets +2, so it's a 13k or a 22k. Lastly, we play 4 of the Reverse Cradle for the Star Vadar name. Of course, I would much rather duplicate a heal than a draw. And of course, play 3 of the other reverse units for 7. Of course, we're not playing the grade 2 9k on hit, search and reverse. So the heal on Cradle is a definite. There's no reason not to anymore. And overall, I think you need more in order to compensate for not playing that grade 2 to justify playing the Whirlwind engine. So I think 7 works the best for me. And with all that said and done, I guess without further ado, let's go into a game and see how the deck performs. Overall, I've been testing quite a few decks. I mean, I'm comfortable. Top 10 right now. We only have a couple days till the end of the rank season. I think 5 days-ish. I'm doing pretty good. Playing other decks because I'm a bit burnt out from Deleters and Brawlers. Trying Golds, trying Royals, trying Mega Colony. I love them, but, you know, Golds is fine, but the other 2 not really clicking for me. I think their approach to Royals is too vanilla for me right now, and Mega Colony is a bit tricky. I still need to adapt to it, but Link Joker I definitely think is really solid. I think I work well with the playstyle, and it definitely does perform quite well. So we're going to be playing these Royal Paladins. In the mulligan, I do like to just generally keep 1 reverse unit. Once you have 1, you can search into the next and the next and the next. And then right before you go into grade 3, you can search for the one that you really want. Or you can cut it off early just to make sure that you have that PG or something depending on the matchup. So here, we do have another reverse unit, but I do think that just copying another one is pretty solid. And we're just going to ride the Lampadon. Overall, in this matchup, Royals don't really have the retire. I know that they have the Blaster Seeker, but a normal Blaster Blade can only retire grade 2 or above. So the Palladium in this matchup definitely worth keeping over the Scaler. I think it's a solid rearguard. One thing I really like to do when using Blaster Joker is just put this out, lock this, because at the end of the turn you unlock it. So, you know, it doesn't get in the way of your game plan, but you can always just shove it into the Soul and the Omega Lock. when you have the chance. So this is definitely an interesting Gangan run. It's definitely interesting. Might as well play the 10k beater. But yeah, I guess if they're not playing pure Seekers, it's valuable. But outside of turn 1 or turn 2, it's really hard to justify a 9k beater. Blaster Joker, nice. All right, and then we can then use the World Line again, and I might just go into the Blaster Joker just to be safe rather than sorry. Honestly, we still have another reverse unit, so that's fine. Photon. I can ride Photon. Astro Reaper. Do we want to commit? Do we want to commit? That's the question. Alright, I'm just gonna attack with the Astro Reaper. Alright, nice. Also last one. Check to 5 for a Photon. We missed, but that's okay. Generally use it when you're in Legion, or else it's kind of greedy. Because when you're in Legion, you have more targets. But of course right now, if you get another Photon, it kind of feels really good. So that's just how it is. Alright, let's see what our opponent's going to do. Go into the Blaster Blade. One interesting thing is that when you Legion with Alfred Exceed, you can choose Blaster Blade or Blaster Blade Seeker. If you choose OG Blaster Blade, it's a Vanguard Zero skill, so it is when placed, you can still activate the Retire skill, and that's the one saving grace, honestly, when playing Boils, but other than that, Alright, we got the Reverse Cradle, that's pretty sick. We got the heal, and we do have that drop zone ready to go for Legion when we are ready. World Line Dragon is going to trigger. Let's see what we're getting. This is fine. A Photon's pretty good too. What do we want? What do we want? Let me go pick up the Astro Reaper. Let's see if we can get another Blaster Joker. But for now, oh no! I turned off the animations. Well, that's a mistake. All right, I'm gonna call out the Neon. Let's save it for later. Can we see a trigger? No trigger. All went to the drop zone or the defenses. We do have, what, 5, 7, 8 triggers left. That's like a third of our deck. So, odds are pretty good. But let's see what else we can do. So, Wingle, definitely still a staple in the deck. Whether that's a 1-off or a 4-off, that's up to you. But it's simple, it helps you plus, and you know, it doesn't require you to play other mates, because Alfred, Wengal, Thingsaver, they all require Blaster Blade Seeker, so it doesn't clash and force you to commit your grade 2 slots for other less relevant units, I'd say, in this metagame. But oh, we see that Brutus, my boy Brutus, but as a stand, Wingle as a crit. This guy's playing jank, and it's interesting to say the least. But let's turn on the animations while they're doing their thing. And on Legion, they get to, of course, Superior Call the Grade 2, and of course they can then use the Filet to Superior Call the Blaster Blade Seeker and make good use of that Gringo. So let's see. They can definitely push us to 5 this turn if they do see if they just go all face. If we don't see a defensive, especially. So let's see what we can do. Of course, now that they're committing basically an entire board, Blaster Joker feels really good, especially when we can kill that mate as well. So, alright, gonna use the Gringle to filter out. We're not gonna see a defensive. Can we see one here? No defensive as well. That SP Photon's gonna go to the damage. And they're gonna heal, but we're at 4 already, so that's not gonna trigger. But a stand here could be spicy. Getting rid of our 7k, 10k beater, that could hurt. Especially since we do need to lock one in order to actually proc Blaster Joker. But anyways, we still have 2 PGs. I think we're good. We do have another Blaster Joker. That's Legion for now. But that PG. And I am considering just calling out the Blaster Joker and discarding the Astro Reaper in this case, since we can't scale with it. So this is gonna happen. Because generally I do like going into Garnet first and then Blaster Joker, simply because then I would be able to use it more than once. But this is fine as well. Let's see if we can see a trigger or two. Please. Heal. That's nice. That's nice. Ideally, I mean, I prefer a draw, but can't complain. Heal is really good. Alright, now what can they do? What can they really do in this spot? We still have the Palladium that I can use to Omega Lock, and we can see pressuring for game. You know, I don't think Royal Paladins actually have a unlocker, so that does feel pretty bad, but pretty good for me. Blaster Blade going for the retire. Oh wow, that's spicy. It's gonna at least get rid of that board because they know we're low on cards. And what else can they do? Going for the Leon. Are they gonna filter? No, they're not. Just gonna go face. Okay, that's a PG down, so can't expect 4 PGs in their hand anyways. Alright, we're gonna draw into a draw. Gonna lock down that Blaster Blade Seeker because they can reuse it for Legion or other shenanigans too. And at this point, I feel like committing isn't the worst idea. But we do have, what, 4, 5, 6, 7 triggers? That's like almost half our deck. I think we're fine like this. I do believe they have 2 PGs. And if they don't, I'm pleasantly surprised. But that one trigger does come into play. And we can pull out 2. That's 1. Ooh, they don't have 2 PG. Let's see if they see that heal. I hope not, because that would be unfortunate. Yeah, alright. So, again, for the nth time, you know, not playing 9 draws definitely hurt them because they're not able to properly generate enough resources and draw into those PGs in this case. But overall, just build up a more solid offense earlier on. But let's go into another game, this time with animations on before we ride Blaster Joker, so we can maybe check it out. It's Gold Paladin. Bad Kid likes trains, that's cool. But last time when we did the leader deck profile, we definitely got caught with our pants down with that easel scissors, so this time definitely gotta be careful when playing against golds. Definitely something that is rare, but is an option that people do play, so gotta be careful. Let's see what our opponent mulligans. And here again, we're just gonna keep the reverse cradle. Helps us start our engine, helps us start our Legion stuff. We have our Photon, Lock, Astral Reaper is fine, Lanthanum is a solid grade 1 ride target, I guess. Since we do play 4, we don't need to really preserve it that well. But ideal ride target grade 1 is probably Lanthanum or Neon. Grade 2 ideal ride target probably gonna be the grade 2 Blaster Joker Searcher, if you already have a Blaster Joker in hand, especially. And for grade 3, Garnet Star into Blaster Joker is my approach to the game. That's Worldline. Ooh, no reverse units. We can go into Garnet. Honestly, I think that's fine. Just make sure we have a grade 3. Don't want to be grade stuck. And I can ride the Neon. Don't really want to commit that 17 king column, especially since we don't really have other reverse units to help us generate more resources, so I'm just going to hold it for now. But if you do want to be aggressive, you can ride the Lanthanum, call out the Lanthanum behind the Vanguard Neon, 7k and then 17 to ensure 2 damage unless your opponent heals. And I'd much rather them heal earlier game than later game. So here, they're not committing. Alright, that's fine. Bluish Flames rarely do play the unlockers. They do have that grade 2 unlocker as well. So it is an option, but I rarely see it. But let's hope they don't have it, because that would be annoying, you know, that would be annoying. Astral Reaper is great because we're gonna block out those Blaster Blade Liberator plays. Dalton, we can search with the Garnet Star. I might ride the Photon really. Ride the Photon. We're gonna call out the Astral Reaper. Vanguard swing. So if we see a crit or heal, that would heal. Draw trigger is great, and we do have 3 Photons, and of course, if we are going for the re-ride play, we do have 2 souls because we do have the main and Legion for Garnet. Of course, we're gonna whiff again. Great. It doesn't usually whiff that often, but especially since we do have 3 copies in deck. But it is what it is. If you want more consistency with Astral Reaper, use it when you're in Legion, I guess. But other than that, it's a fine card. It's a fine card. Just treat dropping the soul as setting up for Legion, I guess. But what can you do when our RNG is not your buddy, right? So let's check out what our opponent can do here. Of course, they can go into their bluish flame vanguards. Generally, you want to go into the one that superior calls. I guess check top 4 superior call 1, the rank ward 1. But the guard restrict is fine as well, but it eats up to my counterblast if it's too early. And the generic counterblast 1 is not that good. It's not that good. So they are gonna go with the Percival, the first one that we mentioned. Just gonna check top 4. But could have went to the Zenith, but I think it's too early. I definitely agree with this play. Just might as well just call it out. But being able to lock that grade 3 is quite spicy, because what it means is that when it unlocks, I still have that one turn of one less intercept that I can push. So don't always have to lock grade 2s, you know, locking grade 3s in the front row or locking grade 1s in the front row generally is an option as well, and is something that I really like to choose when I'm still earlier on into the game. So I'm going to ride the Garnet Star, finally get the animations. Hopefully we can show off Blaster Joker because it looks really, really good. But here we do have multiple triggers and drop zone. Feels pretty good. I can call out the Lanthanum as well. So I called out. And Legion. Master Reaper. Here we can kind of push for game. We can push for game. Vanguard, Rearguard. But I do think that it's a bit too early, honestly. So I'm just gonna lock this. Oof, the resist. Yeah, the resist isn't that friendly, huh? Alright, I'm just gonna call this. Vanguard 6 for 22. I am gonna swing Rearguard first though. I do want that that +1, if possible. I value that over a trigger check. And we whiffed again. Great. Great. Push to 5. We do have the Photon next turn, but our opponent does check the Zenith. So that's not nice. Never seen the defensive yet. No, it is how it is, I guess, sometimes. At least here with the Astral Reaper, even without a PG, I'm comfortable because we won't be able to be put to lethal. With the guard restrict from 3 to 6, definitely a saving grace. I guess if they do proc the Prominence Killer multiple times, if they do have that many triggers, I guess it's possible, but hopefully not. Hopefully they don't have 2 grade 3s in their hand and gonna spend all their kind of mess on one shot. If they're desperate, I guess it might as well, but hopefully that's not the case this game. So here, Agbo Veil searches for the Blaster Blade. Of course, they can retire that front row 9k, I guess. But they can't get rid of the Astral Reaper. And they're not in Legion state, so they can use the Counterblast 1 discard skill. So, you know, that means, well, unless they have a free way to superior call, they can't trigger the guard restrict and the extra crit. So we should be safe. And they can't Counterblast twice anyway, so at most they can push to 5, even if they do the skill once. And we're comfortable overall. And the next turn we can lock the grade 2 and try to push for game from 4 to 6 with 3 shots. So we're asking for 2 PGs. Should be good. Should be good. Nice. No heal. Alright, draw trigger. That's great. Cradle is trash, but okay. No Blaster Joker though. Alright, let's lock. Here with 7, 8, 9, 10, we have 10 triggers. Odds should be with us, honestly, but do I want to risk it? Do I want to risk it for the biscuit? No PGs is a bit rough. I think just pushing for lethal, but we do have 3 heals. Alright, I'm just going to push for lethal. Just going to ask for 2 PGs. Hopefully they don't have them, and hopefully that is game. So that's 1. Hopefully we don't see 2. Draw trigger is nice. That's the Blaster Joker we wanted to see earlier. And heal. So unfortunately, I guess maybe attacking with the Vanguard might have been better, but who knows, right? Hopefully it doesn't matter because that's game, right? Yeah, that's game. Alright, perfect. So that's how it is. Guardian Star is still good. You know, of course, Blaster Joker is the new spice, but don't sleep on Garnet Star. It's still really solid. Of course, not being able to double front row lock is a shame, but Blaster Joker does that for you and destroys the Legion your opponent has with their mates, and that feels really good. So overall, the deck is quite solid. You can play around with the deck. I'm focusing on just power and being able to scale up without committing that many resources, because that's the metagame we're in. We're in a metagame where there's a lot of retires, there's a lot of ways to just break down your opponent's boards, you know, with brawlers and Kagero and whatnot. So I don't really expect a lot of pieces to be sticky on the board, and what that means is I do want to focus on some pieces that are able to do multiple things, you know, being able to flexibly do stuff without having to commit too much. And that's my reasoning for this build. Let me know down below if you have a different approach. Of course, there's so many different legions. Maybe you have some spicy Venom Dancer stuff. Maybe you have other stuff with that Omega Lock Legion. Let me know down below. But this has been working the best for me. I hope you can give it a shot, because I do really love the Worldline engine. I do have a really strong bias towards it, and it has been performing pretty solidly for me, and I hope it can do the same for you. Before we end this video, I'd like to thank Novo Grappler Kamui for being a member and supporting the channel. Of course, you can support the channel by being a member as well, by clicking that join button. But of course, liking the video if you liked it, and subscribing if you haven't already is really helpful as well. So thank you all for watching. Hope you stay tuned to ladder, and I hope I qualify for the circuit. And until next time, I'll see you all very soon. Bye.